Non-abortifacient contraception is a category that needs to be prominently recognized and dissected by both the left and the right. Reproductive rights. What comes to mind when we hear that term? For the modern feminist, that likely means empowerment, having reliable tools to regulate or suppress your fertility while you explore your sexuality in the context of college degrees, career development, and continuous dating while looking for the one with whom you want to start a family or not start a family. However, for Catholics and conservatives more broadly, reproductive rights is a despicable euphemism that conceals the grisly nature of what those pesky leftists and radical feminists really want: access to abortion, just so they can have a life of unregulated hedonism. The reality, though, is that reproductive rights encompasses a wide range of issues pertaining to women's health: family planning, contraception, managing menstruation, hormonal treatments, and the list goes on and on. It's not always about promiscuity, nor about abortion. And that's the problem with such highly politicized buzzwords. They are fuzzy, imprecise, and yet elicit a strong reaction that makes discourse nearly impossible in the midst of the polarization of a given topic. I don't really have dramatic mic drops for you today, but I'll throw in a couple of conversation starters worth consideration. Liberals do great injustice in their failure to acknowledge the horrors of abortion. Despite philosophical disagreements about the value of unborn life and when personhood begins, everyone must confront the brutality of the procedure that terminates a fetus. On the other hand, conservatives mischaracterize pro-choicers as enthusiastically supporting abortion per se. Most feel ambivalent about it and simply want to wash their hands of the dreaded decision that desperate, vulnerable, and likely uninformed women have to make. Only psychopaths would wholeheartedly support abortion and fail to see just how traumatizing the procedure is, even for the most radical of feminists. And I won't even get into how this all applies to victims of rape and incest. As a Catholic, I must affirm that life begins at conception and is infinitely valuable and sacred. But I can't pretend to feel comfortable with an absolutist position on how to deal with pregnancies in those dire circumstances. Another thing to consider is, why should reproductive rights even matter? Well, setting aside a life of endlessly hooking up with every attractive person you hit it off with, even in the context of lifelong monogamy, people with half a brain know that sex is more than just the mechanics of procreation, and the expression and enjoyment of intimate desire sustains marriage in the long term. Access to reliable family planning tools empowers spouses to make decisions most suited to their particular situations. Traditional Catholics would advocate for total abstinence or total providentialism, while more mainstream Catholics would promote NFP, or natural family planning. But it only takes a couple of brain cells to realize how impractical and unreliable all of that is for the vast majority of folks. Non-abortifacient contraception is a category that needs to be prominently recognized and dissected by both the left and the right. I'll cease my rambling for now. To wrap it up in fewer words, we should do away with silly buzzwords like reproductive rights that fail to accurately describe something that can be so gruesome. And we should strive to overcome simplistic, dogmatic, and sometimes harmful positions on difficult topics.